The World Trade Organization, which oversees trade ties and rules between nations, has some real bad news when it comes to the world's GDP. And all that has to do with war in Ukraine. This war has really spilled over geopolitical ties between nations, and now we're foreseeing a new unofficial world order. And that is the West versus Russia. This has affected the global economy, taking down the GDP with it. In fact, GDP, or gross domestic product, really measures the economic health of a country. And the conflict has already flared up the energy and food prices because both Russia and Ukraine are important suppliers of essential products like food and energy. About 25% of wheat, 15% of barley, 45% of sunflower products were globally exported from both Ukraine and Russia in 2019.
This is planting season for the spring crop. We hope there'll be some kind of humanitarian corridor so that farmers can plant. But more importantly, 80% of Ukraine's wheat is harvested in July. That's the winter crop. And there has to be, we hope there can be some kind of humanitarian cover so this can be harvested.
So now there's, of course, a bottleneck. Owing to the war, Ukraine's economy has shrinked drastically. In fact, is expected to shrink further by 45.1%. So Ukrainians won't just be fighting to keep their country, but also to cope with surging inflation, debt, and poverty. What's happening here is that less trade means less stability and reduced access to necessities. The global economy is even more precarious about COVID-19 as well. So the war in Ukraine is stunning chances of having any stability to the economy anytime in the near future. This intense war in Ukraine, which has gone on for over a month, has not just impacted Ukrainian economy, but also impacted the entire Western region. Say, for example, London's price inflation has jumped to its highest levels in the last 3 decades, all in the last 1 month. More divides in the world order means a fragmented economy. In the subsequent rivalry, poorer countries suffer as powerful economies turn their backs. And the Ukraine-Russia war has nations already taking sides now, thus creating unofficial blocs.
The most immediate economic effect of the war has been a sharp spike in the prices of food, energy, fertilizer, and some important minerals, for which Ukraine and Russia are key suppliers to world markets. A potential food crisis is looming. Food and energy prices were already high by historical standards before the war.
Reduced supply of food means high prices, and that's no good news for the world's poor economies. For instance, Africa and the Middle East will be the worst hit, as 50% of their cereal needs are from Ukraine and Russia. Some sub-Saharan African countries are already facing a price hike for wheat, while all eyes now are on oil and how expensive they are getting by the day. In fact, India is also facing a price rise in oil. This rising food insecurity and massive refugee crisis has really gripped the world in one of the biggest since World War II.
For more informative videos like this, keep watching India Today Newsmo.